Welcome to GNV On The Move, a half-hour program showcasing the City of Gainesville's initiatives, programs, events, and people. I'm your host, Jennifer Smart. This is an exciting time for Gainesville as we strive to create a community that is equitable, sustainable, resilient, and a great place to live and experience. We are a city on the move. In this episode, I'll have a conversation with Gainesville City Manager Cynthia W. Curry about her long career in public service and what it takes to run a city government. We'll also update you on city initiatives to address housing, pedestrian safety, gun violence, and services to assist neighbors experiencing homelessness. And we'll visit the city's Albert Ray Massey Park, which features our first fully inclusive and lighted playground. But first, the City of Gainesville, along with our partner, Bright Community Trust, recently celebrated something special: the completion of the first affordable home built as part of the Community Land Trust program. This program is designed to keep properties permanently affordable for families who qualify.
1, 2, 3.
The City of Gainesville and Bright Community Trust recently marked the completion of the first affordable home built as part of their Community Land Trust partnership. The new single-family home is the first of 10 houses to be constructed on vacant lots previously owned by the city and transferred to Bright. The trust ensures the homes remain affordable in perpetuity whenever they are sold by the homeowner.
I can't really express how excited I am to finally be here to open the doors to our first home in the Community Land Trust with Bright Community Land Trust.
Our vision at Bright is that everybody in the state of Florida has a good place to live, that puts a roof over their head, that's in a neighborhood that they enjoy.
This is going to matter for generations to the people who live here. It's going to allow them to take that first step into home ownership, with the City of Gainesville providing some down payment funds for them to be able to move into the house. I just want you to know how grateful I am to all of the folks who have been any part of this process over the last decade. This is a huge tool for the City of Gainesville, for our community, to help tackle affordable housing. It's not the only tool, but it is one of the biggest things we'll be able to use. And finally, we can see exactly how it works in the City of Gainesville.
Gainesville is the newest region of the state that we cover, and we are so excited to be here and to be part of the team effort to uplift families, to uplift our neighbors, and to get a family into home ownership here in the Community Land Trust model. We're really excited about this opportunity.
Neighbors with household incomes no greater than 80% of the area median income may qualify to purchase the homes. Home buyers may also be eligible to receive up to $30,000 toward the purchase through the city's down payment assistance program.
City Manager Cynthia W. Curry arrived in Gainesville in November 2021 and immediately went to work steering our community through challenges related to the pandemic and city finances. She has an impressive background, serving as an assistant county manager in Miami-Dade, interim city manager for the City of Miami Gardens, and as a senior vice president at Florida International University. City Manager, welcome to GNV On The Move.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
I wanted to ask you first a little bit about your family story, because people, I think, may be familiar that you came here from Miami, but what they may not know is that your family is from North Central Florida. You grew up in the area and you have a lot of ties, deep ties, generational ties to Gainesville.
That is true. Actually, I arrived in Gainesville in the early 1960s. And I am dating myself, but it's okay. It's all good. My father actually pastored Bartley Temple United Methodist Church. It was just Methodist Church then, but he pastored that church. And my grandfather, not during my time, he pastored Mount Pleasant United Methodist Church. And so my family has been coming to Gainesville for a very long time, and I've been in tow. So Gainesville is not new to me, but I am from Palatka, Florida, East Palatka more specifically. And that is where I was born and raised.
And one of the stories that I have learned about you and come to value is your history of helping to integrate the schools as a young girl.
That is true. In 1965, my family was one of a few other families in Putnam County that integrated the public school system. In Putnam County. And my brother and I and older sister were amongst the very first group of black students to attend all-white school, an all-white school in Putnam County. It was quite an experience, a growing experience for me, a learning one, and one that has very much shaped my life as I have moved forward.
And you went on to University of Miami.
I did. I received a degree in politics and public affairs from the University of Miami, undergraduate as well as a graduate degree from the University of Miami, and spent the greater part of my professional career in government in the Miami-Dade County system.
This is something that I think is important for us to talk about, because so much of your work here has been shaping the finances of the city, looking at the budget. And this is really your wheelhouse, because in Miami you were an assistant county manager, you worked in the Office of Management and Budget, you were even appointed by Governor Lawton Chiles to assist with overseeing the fiscal operations of the City of Miami at a legislative level. So tell us a little bit about all of this background with running budgets and figuring out how city operations are funded efficiently.
Wow, my career has spanned, quite frankly, close to 40 years, and so I have been doing this for a very long time. I really never thought that it would be, the finance area would be the area that I thrived in, but as I finished an internship with Miami-Dade County, I was placed in the Office of Management and Budget as my first real full-time job. And I was in that environment for more than 7, almost 8 years. And I was able to grow from a budget analyst to a senior analyst to budget coordinator to assistant director of the Office of Management Budget for Miami-Dade County, which is a very huge county with a lot of fiscal responsibility. But that is really what shaped it for me. I did that for a very, very long time before being promoted to the county manager's office. And during that stint, I was able to acquire a lot of knowledge around budgets. I was tagged by Governor Chiles at the time to serve on the City of Miami's Financial Oversight Board. They had been taken into state custody, if you will, relative to their finances. And I was actually honored to be able to serve on that committee and serve as the chair of the estimating conference, which the state does on a larger basis, but I did that relative to the City of Miami's finances. And I had an opportunity when I served as assistant or senior vice president for business and finance at Florida International University to take responsibility not only for the accounting functions, but also the budget functions for that university. I also did the same thing for Florida Memorial University in Miami, where I served as executive vice president as well. So budget has been my wheelhouse for a very long time. Budget and finance.
Which turned out to be fortunate for Gainesville, because you came at a time, these 3 years, almost 3 years you've been here, where there have been sort of these seismic shifts in budget, and you've taken a very practical approach to it. You know, here's what we have, here's what we do to make it work. And so what are some of the philosophies and the techniques that you have used to balance these budgets year after year here?
Wow, the principles are the same. But we really just start off with the people side of it, because numbers are numbers, but people are people. And when you're in a governmental setting, you really have to think about the people first. And so my style, my method of interfacing, my method of managing is really to understand people and have them understand why they come to work every day. And then we have to put that in the frame of a number. How much can we afford? And then once we do that, that fits into a frame of, now what kind of service can we provide? And so I try to bring the people along with me. That is not easy. And so the people not only include our constituents, but obviously it includes the people who govern, and they are the legislators, the commissioners, and making sure that each and every one of them, obviously, as they connect with their constituents, that I am connecting to them so that I'm doing the best that I can to fashion a budget to address their needs and their concerns as best I can. And so the budget process is a collaborative process. It's a democratic process. And then it boils down to dollars and cents. What can we afford? And then the commission makes that final decision. So I've been doing that for a very long time. And it's something that I enjoy.
It's a pressure cooker, and it's interesting that it's something you enjoy because it's so challenging on all these levels. You know, apart from sort of the methodology, there's the personal aspect of it. So I've seen that you place such a high premium on protecting the community builders, the employees of the City of Gainesville.
I do. I do, because without them, this would not be possible. No governmental entity is worth its weight unless it values its employees. You cannot satisfy each and every individual, but I do place a lot of importance on hearing from the community builders. We call them community builders. The employees are community builders. When I came, the emergency was around finances, and so I clearly had to put my eyesight there first. I'm just appreciative that not only am I able now to not only focus on the finances of the city, but I can focus on the people, and I think it's great.
After the break, we'll continue our conversation with Gainesville City Manager Cynthia W. Curry. We'll also take a look at Gainesville's regional transit system as it celebrates 50 excellent years of serving our community. But first, here is an update on steps the City of Gainesville is taking to effectively address, on a local level, some of the issues that are facing communities across the country.
As work continues on University Avenue by the Florida Department of Transportation, the city has completed the transformation of several side streets from 2 lanes into one-way traffic only, with protected lanes for bicyclists. This change in traffic flow is designed to help reduce the number of roadway deaths and serious injuries. Learn more about our work toward ending gun violence in our community and become part of the movement to foster community safety and well-being. Visit www.gainesvillefl.gov/ImpactGNV to sign up for the Impact GNV newsletter. The Department of Housing and Community Development is looking for general and roofing contractors to provide home repairs for our neighbors as part of our housing rehabilitation programs. Contractors are paid directly by the city for services including emergency roof repair, electrical and plumbing work, the installation of heating and air conditioning systems, fixing code violations related to the structure, and managing major or minor home repairs, including increasing accessibility. The Community Resource Paramedicine Program is the city's public health outreach initiative. Our paramedics and EMTs help our most underserved neighbors manage chronic medical conditions and navigate the healthcare system. These teams also link our houseless neighbors with services at Grace Marketplace, the area's homeless resource center. Gainesville City Manager Cynthia W. Curry was among the 25 local leaders honored this year with a Fierce Award. This recognition from the Guide to Greater Gainesville celebrates women who make an impact by leading, motivating, and helping others succeed. Quote, "Because together we achieve more," end quote. We thank City Manager Curry and all the winners for their dedication and vision in building a better, stronger community.
RTS is turning 50 in 2024, and we've come a long way. We started in 1974 as a county entity, and in 1981 we became a city entity, and we've grown. Today, RTS has 102 buses, a new East Gainesville transfer station under construction. We have a team of 266 employees who serve the Gainesville area. Over the last 25 years, RTS has served over 200 million passengers, traveled almost 78 million miles, and received $75.2 million in grant funding. RTS also benefits the community with other benefits. 18 and under, ride fare free. 65 and older, also fare free rides. We have paratransit service for the Gainesville community. We're also a strong partner with the city for Vision Zero, safety in our community, less cars on the road, less chances of accidents. The City of Gainesville has a zero emissions initiative for 2045. We're doing our part. We have 4 electric vehicles, 5 hybrid. More electric vehicles are on order. RTS is doing our part to meet the City of Gainesville's vision of zero emissions. The folks who work at RTS are proud to serve our community. It's a really good feeling when you pick up passengers at Rosa Parks, Butler Plaza, UF, Santa Fe, and get them where they need in a safe, clean environment. That's RTS. celebrating 50 years.
We continue our conversation with City Manager Cynthia W. Curry, and we're going to talk a little bit now about the form of government we have here in the City of Gainesville. As City Manager in the form of government here, you are running the operations of the city as well as carrying out policy set by the Commission.
Yes, there are different forms of leading a governmental entity. In our instance here in the City of Gainesville, we have a city manager form of government. The city manager carries out the day-to-day operations. The policy is set by the Commission. They carry it out through ordinances and through resolutions and other directives, motions that are passed that dictate what I am supposed to implement on behalf of the City Commission. But I do the hiring and the firing of, the leadership. I monitor performance, I monitor our operations, I make sure the budget is in check. I'm back and forth, every other week presenting to the Commission directly or through my leadership team on operations. But the Commission, even by charter, they are to do policy directives and the operational side of the house is left to the city manager. There are other governmental entities who operate differently. They have a mayor who is the chief executive officer, who is in the position of managing the day-to-day operations. But in the instance for the City of Gainesville, it is a city manager form of government, and the city manager has the authority to carry out the day-to-day.
And it's interesting to see you work. I get to work in the suite of offices where you are, and this takes forms large and small. You have the police chief reporting to you, you have the fire chief, the directors of all the departments with big sort of high-level issues, and then you even have people calling you up to tell you there's trash at the corner of University and Main. And so all levels of information come to you and through you to sort of determine how Gainesville is going to be run.
There are so many facets to government, but in my position, in my role as city manager, it is strictly about being able to grasp the issues, understand the intricacies of the issues, being able to communicate that not only directly but through the leadership team to the Commission. And so I have experts in different areas. I'm not an engineer. And so I would need to rely on my Public Works Director, who is an engineer. And so therefore I would need to have trust and confidence in that individual. The same thing as it relates to the police department. I would need to have that trust in the ability of that individual to lead that agency because they have that training and I don't. I'm not a micromanager, but I do know what is expected of those individuals, even though I may not have the specific expertise. I do know when goals are set and when the Commission decides that those are the goals or that is the strategy that they want to follow, I have the leadership ability to know what that means and know how to carry it out, regardless of whether it is engineering inspired or whether it's aeronautically inspired. And from an airport's point of view, I know we don't have control of an airport in the City of Gainesville, but my point is my role is a leader, it is a manager, it is a person who can communicate with people and who can execute, regardless of where the execution is coming from. And so, yeah, there are a lot of things that I deal with on a daily basis that they don't necessarily have any connection to one another, but I'm expected to deal with it from A to Z, from high to low, from low to high, wherever it comes. I'm a manager. And over the last 40 years, I've been able to figure that out.
Right, and you always bring that focus back to the people. So
I do.
You do. In every conversation, you're bringing it back to the community, the people who live here, the neighbors, the people who need our services, who look for our programs, who benefit from our initiatives. You have your eyes so sharply focused. So you have Community First, which is something that you've put together to really showcase, help, and support through city services.
Yes, so when I came to the City of Gainesville, I was hoping to be able to start immediately on the community and people side of the house. But again, my focus had to be on the State Auditor General's report and the finances. And fortunately, we corrected those issues. But you're right, I did start Community First. And what I wanted to do was to bring the City Hall function to the neighborhoods. And so what I did was I consulted with my directors, I consulted with the commissioners to find out what neighborhoods in particular may need to have some extra focus that may be feeling a little isolated from City Hall. And so I identified 7 communities in what I call Community First to be those neighborhoods that we focused in on. And what I've done is I've asked directors of departments to serve as the managers for those communities. We have Pine Ridge, we have Phoenix, we have Pleasant Street, we have Duval, we have Porters, we have Spring Hill. So those communities, not that other communities don't get the same level of attention, but those communities, we've put a boost in the relationship so that the collaboration is just a lot more focused. And those directors have been asked to create newsletters communicating with those communities. They've been asked to have meetings. They've been asked to have events and activities in those communities so that those communities feel closer to City Hall and they feel that they have access. And so that has been very important to me. It's also been very important for us to build, when I say us, I mean the city, to build those relationships or alliances. I'm very, very pleased about the Community Alliance on Gun Violence. It grew out of a gun violence summit that was headlined by Mayor Ward and Commissioner Duncan Walker. But out of that has come a Community Alliance on Gun Violence Prevention, which is comprised of not only the city, but the county, Alachua County, and of course Santa Fe College, and a variety of community participants from community-based organizations and individuals who have come together to create a plan and to work around being educated on what everybody else is doing.
The thing that is coming to me as I listen to you is the word relationship. You used that word and it was in my head before you even said it. And I feel like I see it on so many levels with the way you're running the City of Gainesville. You're walking through different departments and you're having face-to-face meetings with staff. You're building those relationships. You have the relationships with the other stakeholders and the partners in our community, like with the Gun Violence Prevention Alliance. It's all about collaborating. The same with support services for people experiencing homelessness. All the agencies that are coordinated to collaborate.
That is correct.
And as these different groups go out, like Impact GNV, we have them building relationships with the community to provide support and help with individuals and families, just as with Community First. So it's almost as though your philosophy is about relationships.
It is, and that is what the City of Gainesville is about. It is about those relationships. It's about the collaboration, utilizing those relationships, and it is about, and I'm going to pull it back to the commission because it didn't just happen since I've come to Gainesville. There are many committees, advisory groups, advisory boards that are appointed by the commission that provide that feedback to the commission and of course to staff. For us to be more in touch with the needs of the community. And many of the people who are serving on those boards appointed by the City Commission are experts in their area. And they bring valuable information to the table that me or my staff may not have thought about. And so that kind of collaboration is also important. We also created a couple of years or so ago an interagency housing group because their funds spent on the city side, their funds spent on the county side, but the need to just be able to work together and have some idea of what's happening in other jurisdictions that we can leverage. Because, for example, in the area of housing, there's no way that the City of Gainesville could build the number of units in a vacuum that are needed, right, for the need for housing here. And so we need to collaborate not only with the county, but we need to collaborate with the Gainesville Housing Authority, the Alachua Housing Authority. We need to collaborate with the private sector, with the developers that are out there, and all of us working together create the units of housing that are needed, not just within the City of Gainesville's resources. And the same thing applies to the homelessness situation that we face. It is not a situation that belongs to the City of Gainesville. In order for it to be solved, it belongs to the community at large. And we have to be in that together, and we're still working on building that relationship so that it is a more holistic and effective relationship, because the need is out there. The funding is not as much as it should be in order to address it. Can it be solved? It's not about money. It really is a social issue. It's a health issue. And it's not solved because you put money there. But it can be contained, And so those relationships we're still working on to make sure that we can have the best impact in that area. But it really truly boils down to collaboration and leveraging in government, because government can't do it all.
Do you feel good about where we're headed and the momentum that you've built?
I do feel good about the momentum that I have built, and I feel that we are making the mark, but we're not there yet. There's still so much to be done in the community, in the city. We're budget constrained, but individually we're all budget constrained, right? We all have a different level of resources, we all have demands, and we can only do so much. So I keep that in mind, but what I really have to keep in mind is the strategic direction that the Commission has set, the policy directives that they have set, what their priorities are, and then I just basically go out and try to make that happen.
And it is a 24/7 job.
That it is. It is that.
Thank
but
you
I'm
so
used
much.
to it.
We appreciate you, City Manager.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse of the many exciting projects going on in Gainesville. We leave you now with a look at the Albert Ray Massey Park Playground through the eyes of a child. The park has been redesigned to make it accessible for children and parents of all levels of mobility and abilities. The renovation was done in partnership with the UF Health Center for Autism and Alachua County Public Schools. Join us again next month as we take another look at GNV On The Move.
Whoa! No! No way! Drone? Are you really? Whoa! Still play over here. Okay, here we go. Whoa! Happy! Here we go! Yahoo! I really like this playground.